Well, hello there. Let's talk Thor: Love and Thunder. So I saw this movie recently, and this is, as far as Marvel movies go, this was my most anticipated, most excited about probably in all of Phase Four Marvel movie, because honestly, Thor Ragnarok is one of my favorite Marvel movies, if not my favorite. I like it better than things like Endgame and Infinity War. I'd much rather watch that. When you get into things like Captain America, the Winter Soldier, that one's pretty up there, and the first Guardians especially. And I really like the second Guardians too. That kind of place is what I really like. And really, as I watched this movie, it had a lot of pieces I liked, a lot of things that I liked to it, especially the back half of it. I think the back half of it is really, really good. The front half of it is very rushed. And I think what happened here is that as you start to look at this movie, when you look at it, you go, okay, what is it missing? Like, what is it missing in this movie? And I think if you compare it straight to Ragnarok, Jeff Goldblum was a big part of it. Because this movie at the beginning, it tries to be really zany and funny. And there's just something about Jeff Goldblum that makes that work. And so I think that's one of the biggest pieces that's missing here is the Grandmaster and Jeff Goldblum kind of centered that zaniness and funniness in Ragnarok, where it's not so much here. I think this movie also misses Loki. Like, when you look at Loki, Loki is kind of the yin to the yin and yang with Thor, and so I think not having Loki be part of this movie is also a big part of that. Now, is he a big part of Ragnarok? Not really. Like, he's there and he's participating in a lot of it, but he's not really even the second or third kind of most important character there. But he is giving that kind of yang feeling to Thor throughout. I think as you look at the front half of this movie, there's parts of it I like. There's parts of it I'm like, this is a little too much. The part with the Guardians, like, the Guardians are wasted here. The Guardians are funny. The Guardians have a lot of humor. They can add a lot to it. And, like, to a point that there's nothing, like, going back to Drax and not some comment from Drax that's, like, very... You know how Drax is very literal, and there's not some comment in this movie where you get that out of him. You don't get much out of Rocket and Groot, who are two of the best kind of characters in the MCU as a whole. And so as you progress through the movie, too, I think Valkyrie is kind of wasted here. Like, she has really good moments, but, like, she's not even part of the last part of the battle. She's just kind of sidelined. And so that's a disappointment, too, as well. And so I think really as you look at this movie, I think the pacing is the issue. Now, the story isn't super great, but it could have been. I mean, if you look at Christian Bale at, like, slaying other gods and, like, how Thor finds out about it and then how Thor progresses to that matchup, like, that's a good story that can tell, especially with somebody like Christian Bale, who is a great villain in this. But the pacing that you get there, it's a little rough because it feels very rushed at the beginning parts, but at the back half, it feels great. As you look at the characters in this, I think most of the people in this are great. I think Christian Bale is amazing in this. This is my favorite version of Natalie Portman in the entire MCU. She's much better than she is in the original Thor or the Dark World. Valkyrie, I liked her better in Ragnarok. I think that kind of story that she had, because she doesn't really have, like, a growth story here, was better in Ragnarok, but still, it's Tessa Thompson, who's great. Hemsworth is a little too campy and a little too over the top at times, but that bro Thor, he plays so well. And so really with Thor: Love and Thunder, I came out of the movie going, I don't know if I like it, but I don't dislike it. Like, it's one of those that's kind of MCU movies that I would watch again, that if it's on cable, I would watch. And I think that's really the key with these individual MCU movies, is that they're building towards a bigger story, but are they things that, like, if you had time, would you sit and watch? And this is definitely that. Is it my favorite MCU movie? No. Yeah, I think Ragnarok's better. I think there's a whole list. I think if I had to kind of aim where this one ranks, it'd probably be in the 11 to 15 range, somewhere around there. So really, as you look at Thor Ragnarok, I'd probably give it a 7 out of 10. But definitely go see it. It's definitely kind of continues the story, and there's a lot of good in it.